Good morning, everyone. My name is Anastasios Tapeinopoulos. You can call me Taz, because the other thing is very complex. I've been with BCU 2.5 years. I am part of the Enterprise and Entrepreneurship team. We help students and graduates set up and run their own businesses. We do that primarily through the BScene program. So the BScene program is for EU and UK nationals that want to set up and run their own businesses. It's a program that is co-funded by the European Union, and it provides a 5 days boot. It's a 1-year program, and it provides a 5 days boot camp, a small grant, mentoring, co-working space, co-working space, and one-to-one sessions and other things, networking opportunities, a lot. So for the people that are not EU or UK nationals and are in the country with a Tier 4 visa, let's say, for them we also offer the Startup Visa program, which is a 2-year visa after you graduate to stay in the country, set up and run your own business. That's one part of what we do. The other part is that we provide ad hoc, one-to-one expertise and assistance to people that are in the process, have an idea, don't have an idea, but are interested in entrepreneurship. So every Wednesday, probably you've received one of my emails, but every Wednesday, if you go on Careers Plus, you'll see that you can book an appointment with us and run your idea with us, and we can help you with that. We have an enterprise and entrepreneurship mailing list. That way you can also do a self-assessment there and express what type of needs you have or what type of things you would want more, and you'll get emails from us for all the events that we're participating and BCU is offering. So as an example, I can tell you that in a couple of months' time, we'll be doing, in collaboration with the University of Birmingham, we'll be doing Birmingham's Venture Crawl. So this is an idea that originated in London. So they took a bus and took like 50 students or 50 potential entrepreneurs around London to all sorts of different interesting places about funding, about crowdsourcing, about investing, about entrepreneurship. So in one day they covered a lot of space. Then it caught up in Manchester, and this year will be the first time that we'll be doing it in Birmingham with UOB. So it's really exciting. So things like that, we're doing it. Cool. I would like you to do a very short all about me session. I don't know if you know each other, or I don't know if you have done this before, but I'd like you to very few words state your name, where are you from, what do you study, what's your passion, what do you consider yourself to be an expert in, why are you here, what do you want to get out of this. You don't have to answer everything. You don't have to answer everything. You can be as open or as closed as you like. Okay? It's just because the thing with entrepreneurship is that it usually is a very lonely journey. So when you have an idea, is maybe you and someone else, 3 people max that you will be working on it. That's why entrepreneurs enjoy networking, because it's something that they can express their fears, their anxieties, they can talk about their dream, their passion, what they're all about. So, and of course, make connections, find people that can help them, find people that share the same, dreams or the share things. But it's really important, and you have to understand that because you will not be, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you will not be working in a 9-to-5 job. You will not be with colleagues. You will have to find your peers. So we're giving it a go now, okay?
My name is Hamza.
Hamza.
I studied business international.
Okay.
Passion is, I like fitness. I'm an expert at personal development, companies about. Maybe
Okay.
because I want to have an opportunity to see what kind of things I can get out of this affiliation and whether I can develop myself academically, doing the business mindset. So I think I've answered how I'm here at the last time.
Cool. Cheers, thank you.
My passion is I like netball. I don't know what I'm expert at, but I'm here because I want to get some inspiration and try and see what my skill set is and what I want to get out of this. Hopefully pass the exam.
Let me put a parenthesis here, which I think is really important to stress. Chris said that last year, only one person didn't manage to pass the exam, probably because he was poor or something. What I need to say is that that doesn't mean that that person will not be a successful entrepreneur, and it doesn't mean that the rest that did pass the exam will be successful entrepreneurs. There are so many factors and so many criteria that play a role in this that you are best set taking this as a learning experience and put it on your CV, okay, rather than something that will firmly equip you in setting up and running a business.
My name is Sigma and I study BIT as well. My passion, I'm quite creative, and I'm here because I want to get some education by the way.
Okay. Cool, thank you.
My name is Ali. I'm from Belgrade. I study BIT. My passion is football. I'm an expert at football. And I'm here because she's driving me. No, I'm joking.
Well, that's
I'm here
valid
because I
reason.
obviously want to get the...
I've done worse.
But then, what did you say?
I've said I've done worse.
I'm here because I want this qualification because it look good on my CV for later on.
Yeah, cool.
My name is Rosie and I'm from here, Birmingham. I study as an enterprise systems management and my passion is music, beauty, and I'm an expert at hair braiding.
I won't need your
I'm
service.
here. You don't have any hair I can work on, but you do other things in the past. I'm here because I like to invest in myself, so I think this qualification will help me be more employable in the sense as well, and getting knowledge on what small businesses, because I'm going to start mine in the future. So.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Asita. I'm a student from Birmingham. I like to read and environmental causes. I would say it's my passion. And from this course, I want to gain the expertise and the knowledge as much as I can, so that I can use it to do something diverse that I have in mind.
Cool. Brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you all very much. Now, not only I know more about you, but you also know more about the people that sit next to you. Another question I have to ask is, do you, any of you have any specific business ideas right now? Yeah? Cool. We can talk about those later. Before coming to BCU, I used to be a management consultant for small businesses, but also for large public organizations. So I have a lot of experience having business people coming to me for something, okay? For knowledge, for expertise, for research, for something. And that's a big difference between people that want to get this as experience, as an added knowledge, and people that want to get this because they have something in their mind. If you have a business idea, everything you're not open to knowledge. You're open to satisfy that specific need that captures that business idea. Okay? There's a difference in mindset, and I'm saying this for you to be able to understand it and try and reflect on it while you're doing this. So if you're in it for knowledge, to better yourself, to get more skills, that's absolutely fine. You'll have a different attitude towards this rather than the person that has this business idea and tries to find solutions for his specific problems. So either way you see it, either way you approach it, it's fine, as long as you understand why are you doing something. And I'm saying this because there's a difference, okay? A person that comes in for the learning is a student, needs to learn. A person that comes in for the business idea is a customer, okay? You would expect different things from them, okay? It's not about getting the grades, it's about getting the solution. So you will have to understand about yourself and about how and about the people you approach, okay? Why are you doing this? So if you're trying to find a mentor, okay, let's put it in an example. If you're trying to find a mentor, okay, on manager, football manager, like someone to coach you how to play the game better, okay? So if you're trying to find a mentor, if you're doing it because you just want to learn, because you just want to, better yourself, then that person will treat you like, okay, we'll take it easy, it's fine, you don't have any specific objectives, you just want to better yourself, all that. But if you go them and say, I want to set up and run this business in 6 months' time because the opportunity is now and I don't want to miss it, then all of a sudden it's a different ballgame. The people will expect of you to do stuff, and you don't want to fail them and you don't want to fail yourself. So keep all that attitude, that mental framework of being an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is not a student. An entrepreneur is actually out there, okay? You've passed learning, you've done all that, that's fine, that's okay, but expect people to expect from you to be punctual, to do what you said that you will do, to achieve what you promised to achieve, because everything else relies on that attitude. Did I scare you enough? Cool. So, from our part, entrepreneurship education is here to provide guidance on an array of entrepreneurial support resources, provide to students experiences and skills for the future world of business, provide to students experiences that showcase complexity and intrigue of the business world. So when you leave university and try to find your first job, all that applies, either you're trying to set up a business or you want to run your own business, okay? You need or should, or it would be good, to consider yourself to be a business. You are a business on your own, every day, whatever you do. You've got time, and you've got resources, either internal or external, and you've got objectives. And whatever you do with your time, with the money that you have, or with the money that you can access, or with the friends that you have and their knowledge and how they can help you, that all is towards a specific aim. And again, it can be either to set up a business or to get a job. Oh yeah. Oof. I'll send you all this, but it's important to understand that what is wicked and what is enterprising, flexible, and innovative. What are opportunities? How we measure performance. It hasn't been very long that entrepreneurship has been part of academic curriculum, and this is part of a very recent. It's from 2018 that the Quality Assurance Association produced a guide, the guidelines for academic entrepreneurship, and it's to show that entrepreneurship is something that more and more will be part of the curriculum. But it's not just something that we're looking for to have everyone set up and run their own businesses. That's not the main objective. The main objective is to be entrepreneurial in mindset. As I said, wicked problems are problems that are not tame, which means that there are problems that are very complex, and the world is becoming much more complex, and that's why it's much more difficult for the people, for your generation, to make it, because the stakes are very high, the demand is very high. In order to get good paying jobs, you need to be as agile as possible, you know? You need to be entrepreneurial. And a very important thing is for you on your own to be able, after you leave uni, to be able to spot and exploit opportunities. Because opportunities will be there, but you will also need to be able to see them and use them. So, let's see where we are today, okay? There's loads of different types of entrepreneurship. Social entrepreneurship, okay? When you're trying to better your community, that's your primary drive, to better the community. Green entrepreneurship, trying to be sustainable as far as the environment is involved. Digital entrepreneurship, being disruptive, changing from things that are in let's say, paper to things that are paperless, or services that don't exist but could exist in a digital world. Intrapreneurship. So the rest is very different from intrapreneurship. Have you ever heard the term intrapreneur? So an intrapreneur is a person that creates entrepreneurial opportunities within a business structure. So you're working in a big company and you've got an idea of how to create a new product or a new service, and you go to your boss and say, listen, boss, I mean, I found this out and I think it's brilliant and we could save X, Y, and Z and increase productivity X, Y, and Z and make money Y and Z. And they say, oh, brilliant, okay. We'll roll this out as a new product and you can be part of that team. Or if you say, I can take this business and spin it. So not within the same business environment, but I can be outside, create a new business, and then those two businesses can work together. Okay? So it's when you are an employee, but you are also an entrepreneur. Really. So as part of the ESB, it says that you need to understand your strengths, okay, and you need to understand also your weaknesses and your tolerances and things like that. So they're saying it in a very simplistic way, but this is where the theory behind that comes from. So this is a SWOT analysis. It's been going on since the 80s. It's a very common strategy tool that we use. Has anybody ever met this? Are you experts on it?
Yeah.
Ooh. So I'm not going to talk about the inside, about strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, okay, because I understand. Do you all know it?
Yeah.
I want to talk about these lines here. So I think these are usually overlooked,
Which ones?
the external ones. That strengths and weaknesses are some things that are internal. They are internal to you, they are internal to your organization. You have control over them. That's the important thing to remember. That you have control over them. Okay? You can work and build strengths. You can work on and, let's say, mitigate, reduce, work on weaknesses, okay? And these things are things that are not within you, are not internal to your organization, they are external, and you don't have control over them, or you don't have much control over them. Okay? So you've got your opportunities, which are from your external environment, and you've got your threats, which again are from your external environment. So weaknesses and threats, bad. Strengths and opportunities, good. What you see is how you can use your strengths to exploit opportunities and avoid pitfalls. So you're saying, I'm not going to focus on this, I'm going to focus on my strengths and try to find opportunities out there that I can exploit and try not to fall in any traps. That's the mentality behind it. For threats can also be risks. So threats are things that can do us harm, but we can also calculate how much harm. Okay, so a threat can be a risk event where what we can say is, how big of a risk is it? How harm will it do to me or to my business? Do I need to shut my business down because of that? Or could I just, try and cope until the storm goes away? So this is something that we can work on. And I'm saying this about the threats because the threats is something, again with the opportunities, it's something which is in the external environment I don't have much control on, but what I can do is this. Have you ever heard of the pastel? So this is, you're trying to identify your external environment. You try to identify all the things that are out there that could affect you or your business and could give you either threats or opportunities. So you don't view this political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal aspects. You don't view it as something that can only cause you harm, but you can also view it as something that can give you opportunities. So you identify your strengths, okay? You say, okay, this is what I'm good at. And then you go here and say, how does that affect, or how does that work with what I am good at? So you try to find your opportunities, and you're trying to find how those opportunities could be booby-trapped. And you try to manage that risk. So in the ESB, let's say, guidance and information, it talks about risk tolerance. Okay, risk tolerance is something that's very summed up. I mean, it's very small. They've put it all in a nutshell. Risk is a whole big. It can be a master's on its own. It is a master's on its own. It can be a course on its own. It's huge. How you deal with risk. But risk is how do you manage it. These are some types of risks that you can see specifically in the business, and you'll see that all of them can also be rooted back here. Okay? These risks can be managed. So I want you to understand that everything that I tell you can either be used to, if you have a business idea, you can filter your business idea through all this material and understand where you are within your business idea. It can give you guidance if your business idea is good, okay? Or it can empower you when you are out there and trying to get a job, okay? If your strength is specific, but there are no opportunities in Birmingham, and you want to do what you feel passionate about, then you need to go somewhere else and try and mitigate any risks that come with moving to a different city, to a different country, to a different continent. If your strength and your opportunities is here, but the competition in Birmingham is very strong, and there are jobs, you can do them, but there's a lot of people that are in the same spot. You try to reduce your weaknesses and try to lessen any weak spots you have in order to be able to be more competitive and get the job. So it can work either for business or it can work for employability. The threats, the risks, okay? You have to identify them, okay? So you have to think in advance. A risk is something that hasn't happened yet, but could happen, and we want to, let's say, either prevent it from happening, or if it happens, how we can lessen the blow. So we identify it, we assess it, we plan actions, we implement those actions. If you go into this mode, you have to go through the whole circle. You can't just do something or one of these things. You have to go through it all, okay? You identify it either from this strategy here, or because you have prior experience, you have prior knowledge, be a lot of things, someone told you, you assess it for severity, for proximity, and for another thing. That you assess it, I'll show you later. You say what you'll do if it happens, and then if it happens, you do what you planned. Threat, you can avoid, you can reduce, you can fall back to a previous plan. If I don't make it to London, I'll come back and stay with my mom and dad. That's your fallback. You transfer it, you can share it, you can accept it. An opportunity, you can exploit it, you can enhance it, which means that you can make it better for later, or you can reject it. We know we're going to the heavy stuff. It's quarter to 11. Would you want to take a break?
Yes.
Yeah, right on.
Before we go to the next thing is Yeah, is that all right?
Yeah.
He works hard on the breath.
Do you have any questions?
Will these slides be shown?
Yeah.
Say 11,
11.
11-ish.
Okay.
After a break, have a coffee or
Yes. Sorry? Why are you searching? I don't know what are you searching. Chris, what are you searching for?
ESB, Brazil ESB
Oh, movie.
Moodle page, yeah. So I think ESB logo, scroll down to the bottom, page 2. There we
Oh,
go.
right, I see it. Oh,
It says somewhere, so a big ESB logo, it should be enrolled.
yeah.
Okay, I'll just double check it. I think most of you are, but I'll sort it.
Today, I will be covering the role of the entrepreneur and the entrepreneurial mindset and opportunities. And I'll go through, we've covered the role of the entrepreneur, we're covering opportunities, okay? And then we can do an example, okay? You tell me a business idea, you tell me anything you want, and then we can run with that, and I can tell you how all these things work with that. So, another thing that can help you very much as an entrepreneur, but also as a person, is managing your time, your resources, and the steps that are required through that. So what do I mean by that? Have you heard of a Gantt chart? Yeah. Have you heard of the critical path? Okay. So a Gantt chart is steps that we have to do in order to achieve an objective, okay? And these steps, we allocate resources in them, in the sense of who will do what and when, okay? And what that is. So, this is a good way for you to be able to plan things and execute. For example, my wife was panicking on our marriage preparations for our wedding. I did a Gantt chart for all the activities
So cute.
for the actual wedding, and then we could see without panicking and without being something overwhelming how all the things that we needed to do for the wedding were in an order. So you had the activities, flowers, cars, venues, churches, bling, blang, boom, fireworks, the whole thing. You had all the activities here. Who was responsible for them? What the activity was in detail, okay? And when we had to do it, or when do we have to start, when do we have to finish? You can break an activity in much more detail and do work packages. So one thing can have 4 sub things, and those 4 sub things can have a start and an end, okay? So at the end, you reach your objective, which is to get married hassle-free. So this can work this is project management. That this can work for someone that wants to do a project or someone that wants to set up a business. And it's a good life skill to have. Either you want to become a good employee and build a career, or you want to become a good entrepreneur and build a business. Okay? Within that, you have the critical path. This is something that, for me, it's a sub, part of this. So it gets a bit more complicated, but it's something that's really important in business, because what the critical path tells you that you have objectives and you have tasks that have to be completed, fulfilled, in order to move to the next one. So, for example, you can't go and say what venue you want for your wedding if you don't know how many people you're inviting. So the first task is to say how many people you're inviting, to agree on that, okay, and then pick a venue for the appropriate size of the wedding. So things like that need to be fulfilled before something else happens, and you create dependencies between these tasks, is what the critical path is all about. So if you want to eat eggs, or full English, you can start with this, okay? And you can see these are, let's say, critical points, or you can call them milestones, and these are the dependencies that they have with each other. So in order for something to be complete, you need to have other things completed first. This is very important in business, okay? And it's something that you'll see, because in business you have a variety of aspects that all need to work relatively well for a business to be successful. It's very few the opportunities that things will be really bad and the business will be successful. So you could have setting up your business idea, then your marketing, your sales, your finances, your suppliers, your production processes, if it's services, the resources that you will need to fulfill those services. Then you have accounting. Then you have, your cash flows, which is your finances through time. Are you going to be sustainable? Then you have external environment stuff like taxes, regulation, legislation. You don't want, if you want to set up, let's say, a small cafe, you can't, and you find the perfect spot, and you plan everything around the perfect spot, only to find out that that venue there isn't set for the business of serving food. You don't have the vents, you don't have the accesses, you don't have the fire doors, you don't have all that. But you didn't know. You don't want to find that out at the end. So a lot of things need to work at a critical path, and you need to set the importance of them before you set everything else. I'm saying this because in business now, it's very fashionable, okay, for people to spend a lot of time dealing with issues like what name will I choose for my business, or how will my website be, or I will need to set up my social media and get likes and followers and all that. Dude, you don't have a product. If you don't have a product, if you don't have a service, if you're not doing something, these are all secondary. Fix your product. Get feedback on what you're going to be selling. Do people want to buy it? Will someone, I think every entrepreneur thinks that their product is the bomb. Every entrepreneur thinks that they will outbeat everyone for eternity. You need to get feedback to know if someone will put their hand in their pocket, take out the wallet, and give you money for what you are selling. Keep that in mind as a mentality. Someone needs to put their hand in their pocket, take out their hard-earned money, and give it to you. If you achieve that, it's a very good feeling to have. When you achieve being in a business and people actually, reward you for your efforts with their money, for your services and for your product, it makes you feel very proud of what you're doing. And this is it's a big part of being an entrepreneur. Okay, you feel that reward. Okay, this is getting a bit more complicated. So I saw that in the ESB, it has some things like what is an entrepreneur. Okay, I want us to spend a bit of time elaborating on what the European Union, and specifically the Joint Research Committee of the European Union, thinks entrepreneurial competence and entrepreneurial education needs to be. So this is something that is delivered in a European level, and it's also adopted in the UK. So the Enterprise Educators UK, which is the body that kind of like regulates entrepreneurial learning and teaching in the United Kingdom, values that these are the traits and the skills that entrepreneurs need to have. So it's things that are separated in three categories. You have actions, you have opportunities, and you have resources. Okay? Let's start with the resources. So the resources is what you can get in order, what you have in order to exploit opportunities and spring into action. Okay? Mobilizing resources. Okay? Convincing people that your idea is worth exploring. Mobilizing others. So mobilizing others is about the people, and mobilizing resources is about finding equipment, finding all the materials and all the stuff that you need. Financial and economic literacy. When you go to a bank and ask for a loan or ask for something, you can speak their language. Okay? Self-awareness and self-efficacy. Okay? Understanding that your idea is not building a space station. If your business idea is to build a space station, motivation and perseverance. It's something that if you have a business idea and you feel very passionate about it, you can't sleep at night. It's something that eats you up, you want to see it happen. Ethical and sustainable thinking. We wish all entrepreneurs and all business people have that. Okay? It's not always the case, but it's something that we aspire to. Valuing ideas, having a vision, being creative, and spotting opportunities. About this, being creative and spotting opportunities, it is linked to the thing that we saw before. About the vision, it's something that I want to say. So, in the Fortune 500 magazine, okay, half of the Fortune 500 businesses didn't have a business plan to start with. A business plan isn't that important if you know what you're doing and if the people that you work with know what they're doing. Because everyone is on the same page, everyone understands. You don't need to write it down. If you're new at this, and if it's something that you haven't done before, and if you need to convince others, and if you need to mobilize resources, and if you need to express it to other people, it's something that a business plan and showing your vision is something that's good to have. Okay? There's huge resources out there on how to build a business plan. You need to find what suits better for you. It can be as simple or as difficult or as complex as you want it to be, but it's something that will keep you in track. Another important thing is that you don't have to follow it to the letter every single day. A lot of businesses started up as one thing and saw success being another thing. Do you know what YouTube was initially? It was a dating platform. YouTube was developed because back then there wasn't any dating platforms, but everything that was, it was very static. You had a picture and some text. And there were two engineers that were working for some big company, for something. And they said, one of them needed to find a girlfriend and said, well, I don't like this because it's very static. It's just a picture, some text, I can't relate to it. And they created, with the intention of creating a website that would support video for a dating platform, they created an algorithm that was, it was very easy to make videos compact and show them online. So they started with totally different vision, totally different values, being very creative, okay? I don't know if it was ethical or sustainable, but at some point they spotted the opportunity that they could make a lot of money out of this, and not by being a dating app, but by being something else. So that's a lesson in flexibility, in agility. Okay. Learning through experience, working with others, planning and managing, taking the initiative, coping with ambiguity, uncertainty, and risk. We've talked about risk before, we've talked about the external environment before, We talked about planning and managing, okay? We talked about the importance of networking, learning through experience. This is something very important. You need to fail. You need to fail, and you need to fail a lot. It's good. It's a good thing. Don't fear failure. The important thing is failure is to fail often, to fail quick, and to fail cheap. Okay? Don't wait until it's all done. There's two project management theories that are very popular right now. One's called waterfall, and the other is called agile. The waterfall theory, what it does is waits until the whole thing is ready, the whole thing is done, and then pushes it out to the market. The agile theory is you put out small installments, small batches, small stuff, okay? Don't wait until you have the whole thing, roll it out in the market, and then people will come and tell you, no, we don't like it. Fail as cheap as you can, because you're not gonna get experience unless you do stuff. And the only way that you will do stuff over and over again, I'm supposed to call it trial and improvement, because it has a more positive aspect and connotation instead of trial and error or instead of failure. But honestly, don't fear it. Don't fear failure. These are scars that you can proudly carry with you in your business careers. It's very important. I mean, I believe it's a very important lesson. This one. Yeah. Cool. Everyone's saying that things happening in London and in Manchester, and nothing's happening in Birmingham. And this is something that the government did, okay, which shows for the city of Birmingham, Greater Birmingham and Solihull, okay, which is the lab. It is the local enterprise partnership of Greater Birmingham and Solihull, which is an economic entity that monitors and supports this area. Okay? This is how we do in terms of innovation. Okay? This is where we're innovative as a region. We're innovative at ICT, food supply, healthcare, built environment, sustainability, high-value manufacturing, and with good scores. Okay, so when you're trying to spot opportunities out there, it's good to explore resources that are available by government bodies, okay, or working with others in order to spot opportunities. And you can take and say, which are my strong attributes? Do they fit anywhere here? How can I exploit these opportunities? So keep an open mind. Don't think that everything that's been done, like in terms of government or whatever, is just waste of money or something like that. It can help you spot opportunities in specific fields. Because when you're saying in healthcare or in a built environment or somewhere like that, that oh, this is something, this means that there will be opportunities in Birmingham in these areas. And if you look around, you'll spot them. Okay? That was it. Now, would you like to do an example? What kind of an example? Let's talk about a business idea. Do you have any business ideas? You want to share it with me? Yes. I can sign a non-disclosure agreement if you want. That I will not steal your brilliant idea. Which is another thing that happens very often when people come to us. They think their idea is so unique and so lucrative that I'm going to steal it and run away with it. That hasn't happened ever. And the thing is, because most of the business ideas that come to us for various reasons aren't well thought. Okay, so who other people are doing it? How are they doing it? Where are they doing it? How much are they charging for it? Okay, how long have they been in business? It's in entrepreneurship takes a lot of research to the level of stalking someone or a business. Okay? When you go to a networking event, if you go to a networking event without doing any preparation, it's a waste of time. Okay? If you're going to a networking event for social reasons and for meeting people and all that, then it's okay. If that's your prime objective, then that's fine. But if you're going and you want to get the best out of it, you need to go prepared. You need to know who else will be there, how those people can help you, how much can you learn about them and for them, what kind of rapport you can build when you introduce yourself to them. Okay? If you look at someone on their social media account and is a person you want as a mentor, okay? What we tell our people that come to us asking for a mentor is, don't wait for the university or for someone else to match you with a mentor. The best ones is the ones that you find yourself that are right for you. The advice I can give you on this is try and find people that are not like you. They're very different from you, but you want to do what they're doing, or you want to learn from what they're doing and how they're doing it. So it's not about the person, it's not about what kind of music they like, it's not about how they dress or how popular they are. It's about how they are exercising a specific task. If someone is a sole trader, for example, if someone is a sole trader, okay, and provides a service, I would recommend to them to network with a lawyer or a solicitor and ask them how do they charge their hourly rates? Because that's what they're good at. This is a task that they're doing very well. They know how to charge hourly rates. And if you're providing a service and you want to know how you can charge, how you can cost, how you can, put a price on the service that you do, that's the person that you want to go for. You don't want to go to another person that does exactly the same thing as you, because you don't want to do the same thing as them. You want to try and figure out if there is any way you can do it differently, if there is any way you can do it more efficiently, more innovatively, find a different model. So try and be as diverse as possible. There's a lot of people in the university who are over at ADM. There's a lot of people in the university who's over at City South at Health. Sorry. You're doing your degree with IT and all of that, and they have ideas for products, for services, for projects. You could link with them and do a project with them that for your case, for your degree, it will be something innovative, something different, and for them, they will get from you IT and business skills. So take advantage of what's going on here at the university and try and find different approaches to solve common problems. So your problem is, what should my project be, my end of the year project be? You don't have to do the same old things. You can find different, very different, solutions to your problems. And that is at your level of, studying, and then at your level in finding a job, being in a job, setting up a job, running a job. A business idea. Okay. Is there anything that you would like to any business that you would be interested in knowing how it works? Like that you have questions. How does that work?
How easy or how difficult is it, say for example, if you wanted to set up a business in a different country, still be able to manage it from UK?
Well, it depends.
And trying to find a market for it in UK, for the products that you develop overseas. Bearing in mind you are inventing you want to market it as something based on helping the communities thrive, sustainability and environment.
The business is where the customers are. So if the business is trying to sell something in the UK, then the business is in the UK. Maybe its resources, maybe its products are developed and made and brought over to the UK, which then that is importing, okay, would be producing and importing. But the business, if your target market is in the UK, then the business is in the UK, it's taxed in the UK. So it's just one component of your business that is abroad. And a lot of jobs are like that. Most of the products that we consume are made in China. Doesn't mean that all the businesses are in China. So it's finding the right partners, finding the right suppliers, working with others, mobilizing resources abroad, mobilizing others abroad. It's trying to motivate people, because your problem would be that one component of your business would be not out of your control, but a bit far away from your control. Any questions? Any other questions? No? Anything that you want to ask me in terms of, let's say, employability? How would this help you to, in order to find a job?
I got another question. Today you do have an idea. Obviously, there's so many people who may have a similar idea to you.
Mm-hmm.
So how is it that we make unique? I know that's down to us, but how is it that like we have to look for a specific target audience or something like that?
Well,
There's so many businesses with just so many similar qualities, and it's the business which stands out, which thrives.
this is about niche. Finding niche markets and finding within the market, finding areas that are underrepresented, and then again that goes to managing, planning, and we'll spot the opportunity, but it has to do with research. So you have to do a lot of research, you have to go out, you have to meet people, you have to see these businesses, how they work, how they operate, and then try and find which part of the community they're underrepresenting, which part of their market target they are failing. And then you swoop in and you take that segment. Because you trying to find how you can be different, but it's not about being different, and it's not about doing something different, it's about providing a service, catering for customers, catering for a market that isn't being serviced. And then you need to see how sustainable your business is and see, is that market worthy, that segment of the market, is it worthy enough? Because for that big business or for the other businesses that operate like that, maybe it's a big investment for them to change and cater for that segment. But for you, because you're now investing in your business, you can set up your business to be different, that can cater for that. And there's chances that the big business that doesn't cater for that segment would be more than willing to help you develop your business, because they want, this is important, so you have a competitor, okay, that's providing a service, and you find a gap in the market that business isn't providing for that community, and you want to provide for that community. The big business is more than likely to help you develop your business, because what they don't want is that segment of the market, and probably also within their market, to go for substitute products, to go for something else, from something different. Okay? So that's why, for example, Apple, okay, it's doing its product. Okay, it's doing the Mac or the iPhone. Its core is the iPhone. Okay, that's what it wants to sell. In its ads, you see the iPhone naked. No screen covers, no cases, no gadgets, widgets, nothing. Because what they showcase is the true form of the iPhone. But they will help out all the businesses that sell iPhone cases by giving to those businesses the specifications of the iPhone before the iPhone is launched. So before the iPhone is launched, they will feed to the businesses that do the cases, okay, the exact measurements of the phone so they can prepare the cases to be ready with the launch. Because the case needs to be done, like the frames, all that thing needs to be done months in advance. So you can't wait until the last minute. So they'll help out those businesses because they want that whole ecosystem of cases. They don't want to be making cases. They don't care about cases. That's not their core. It's expensive to them to go out and buy and do cases. They want other people to do cases, but they don't want the people that had iPhones not to have cases. Because if they don't have cases, maybe they'll go to a Samsung phone. And that's their fear, because they don't want people going for Huawei or Samsung or something different. They allow and they help the ecosystem around the iPhone grow. Make sense? Questions? Squeeze your mind. Anyway, if you at any point have any questions, you can you'll have all my details. Okay, you can subscribe to our newsletter. We'll be having every event that we host on that. You can book an appointment with us. We're there every Wednesday. We have a new BC incubator that will launch hopefully somewhere in February. It will be at the ground level at Millennium Point as soon as you go in to the right. That whole area there, the cultural area, will be the BCU incubator. If you have a business idea and you want to apply for the BC program, the deadline is 1st of February. The next deadline is 1st of May, and the next one is 1st of August. So we run 3 cohorts per year. If you are an international student, or you know international students that have a business idea that they want to set up and run a business in the UK, they will need to graduate first and then apply for the Tier 1 Graduate Entrepreneur Visa, and then we put them on the BSIN program as well. That's it for me, guys. You sure you don't need anything else right now?
Thank you, Tess. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I'll put details from Tess on